Hello, my name is Alyda Hunnicutt, and throughout the study abroad experience, my research topic was about exploring the responsive design within a Mediterranean climate. Spain and Portugal share similar climates with the annual average temperature ranging from 52.88 degrees Fahrenheit to 70.88 degrees Fahrenheit, but often reaching temperatures above 100 degrees in the summertime. To achieve comfort, inhabitants of this region seek relief from the heat. And while studying abroad, I noticed and was taught about intelligent yet intuitive ways architecture and city planning respond to this avoidance of heat. The design principles to be addressed will be split into two categories: city planning and vernacular architecture. Cities throughout Spain and Portugal were strategically designed to provide heat relief for its inhabitants. In general, these designs provide shade, but occasionally the designs that I will be talking about provided evaporative cooling. Providing shade is the easiest way to keep inhabitants cool because it is relatively easy to provide a structure or covering that will block the radiation from the sun, which causes people to feel hot. Examples of shade provided by city planning are as follows. In Seville, narrow streets are designed to cast shadows into the street, keeping pedestrians entirely in the shade. In Granada, the use of overhead shading devices which are strung across the streets are able to keep pedestrians cool even on wider streets. In Madrid, Paseo del Prado combines automotive and pedestrian transportations all while providing shade through planting of large trees within the boulevard. In Cordoba and many of the previously mentioned cities, stones are used for pedestrian walkways. They serve multiple purposes. The first is purely aesthetic. In many cases, these stones were put in a mosaic-like way to create beautiful patterns within the walkways. The stones can also be arranged to make drainage patterns within the walkways more efficient. Lastly, but most importantly to my topic, is that when the weather gets unbearably hot, the walkways can be sprayed with water to harness evaporative cooling benefits without people getting their shoes wet. Evaporative cooling was used in both the city planning aspect as well as the vernacular architecture. How it works is that when water changes from a liquid to a gas, it requires a lot of energy, which it takes in the form of heat from its surroundings. So as the water evaporates, its surroundings are cooled. The second category of design principles that I will be exploring is those that come from vernacular architecture practices from Spain and Portugal. These buildings were designed with climate as a driving force for the form, in all cases trying to keep occupants cool. In other parts of the world, vernacular architecture is vastly different from within the Iberian Peninsula due to climate differences. On top of this, vernacular architecture uses building techniques that local laborers were familiar with to keep import costs and labor costs low. This leads to a unique style for each part of the world, including the Iberian Peninsula vernacular, which we learned about on our trip. The first design principle relates to the form of the building. More often, buildings utilize the square footprint because, as demonstrated in the diagram, it reduced the exposure of walls and roofs to the elements, which results in less heat transfer. These square buildings also included open-air patios, which often featured a fountain or a pool. The patio serves multiple purposes: a place to display extravagant tiles and plants for wealthy homeowners, welcome guests, and cool the house's interior. It serves as an exhaust for warm air while pulling air that has been cooled by the plants and water in the patio into the house. The patio also utilizes shading methods to keep the patio in the shade throughout the day, one of which was planting grapevines that grew on the supported net at the roofline. This is the Summer Palace in Granada. In addition to the patio, which helps cool the building, it has additional properties of the vernacular architecture that I will be pointing out. The first is materials. A terracotta roof and plaster exterior demonstrate local expertise in using resources that are widely available, such as the clay that makes roofs red. Next, a characteristic feature is smaller windows. The smaller windows let in less solar gain and allow for more mass in the walls. The open air passageways on the top floor encourage airflow through the corridor, helping to cool the adjacent spaces on the top floor that potentially miss out on the benefits of being next to the courtyard. Vernacular architecture, summed up by Pacheco Arquitectos, embodies the wisdom of generations harmoniously blending local environments and culture. To conclude, my focus on vernacular building techniques and planning has allowed me to blend two of my academic focuses, architecture and the environment. Although I may not end up in a hot, dry climate, learning about these design principles has made me think critically about what might change based on different climates, and I will be continuing to expand my knowledge within this topic.